Welcome to Machine Minds, where technology and humanity meet. I'm your host, Greg Terusian, founder of Samson Rose, a recruiting and search business focused on the robotics and AI industries. The Machine Minds show is where we dive deep into the intricate world of robotics and artificial intelligence. As a staffing industry leader with a passion for the frontiers of technology, I'm pleased to be bringing you intimate conversations with the founders, investors, and trailblazers who are at the heart of the AI and robotics revolution. In each episode, we dig into their journeys, the applications of the products they're working on, and the breakthroughs that are shaping our future. Join us as we explore how these machine minds are transforming the way we live, work, and understand our world. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a tech enthusiast, or just curious about this amazing field, you'll learn something new with each episode. Let's delve into the extraordinary. Let's delve into machine minds. And on today's episode, we have Derek Pietz joining us. Hi, Derek.
Hey, Greg. Good morning.
Morning. Derek is the Director of Automation Equipment and Test Engineering at Intuitive, which I'm really excited to jump into this and find out more about the industry and a brief background, because it's actually an interesting route that you've taken to get into surgical robotic surgery. So let's jump into it. So Derek, normally I hand it over to the guest initially to give a brief overview of their background, themselves, and the role that they're in. So can you just give us an overview of how you've actually got to this point? Because we know each other from another life in the food automation space, which is where a lot of your background is. So tell us how you ended up here.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Honestly, it's a place in my career and an industry that I never expected to land in, but to kind of walk you through it. I studied mechanical engineering in undergraduate and graduate school, and got my start in kind of the classic Silicon Valley industry of back when we made things out of silicon. I started in the semiconductor world, building capital equipment. I've been building machinery for really my entire career. And that was semiconductor, flat panel display, and solar manufacturing equipment for the first half of my career. Back in 2011, I co-founded a business called L2F that's specialized in helping startup innovations in the hardware space accelerate to market. And our favorite tools of the trade were industrial robots and vision systems and complex mechanical design and complex motion control. And that led us down to being able to work with some really amazing local clients here. We did work with Apple and SpaceX and Tesla, and started doing a lot of food and beverage automation. And that led us into some restaurant clients. And that's kind of what got our careers to cross paths there. L2F did some notable restaurant automation, back with Zoom and a few others that led to our acquisition by the Middleby company, which is the largest maker of restaurant equipment in the world. And it was after that I had a chance to join Sweetgreen to found the automation team there. Greg was super supportive in that life of building out that team. So thank you for all of that help back then. And post Sweetgreen, did another food service robotics play with Hyphen Technologies, and then had a chance to spend a little bit of time in the AI robotics space, which was really fantastic to build out some new tools and experience in the tool belt. And then fairly recent, was able to join Intuitive Surgical here, and I'm actually in the endoluminal business unit where we work on the Ion platform. And my team in automation equipment and test is primarily focused on the manufacturing equipment for producing the robot, and then also the instruments and accessories that go along with it.
Very cool. So your team is basically one step removed from the actual robotic product, but you're the backbone, shall we say. Like, there wouldn't be any robots without you guys.
Well, you'd probably have robots, but you wouldn't have as many of them, and they can be quite challenging to make. And so there's quite a lot of precision instrumentation that we build in order to really ensure that we deliver quality product at appropriate volumes that is safe and that the patients can really count on.
It's pretty key for your industry. I'd say there's no real margin for error there.
No whatsoever.
Can you give me a brief, and the listeners a brief overview? Obviously, Intuitive, your background is very much in startups, as we were talking about offline. And so this is the first publicly traded company, big behemoth, shall we call it. So if you could give us a brief overview and background of Intuitive for people who aren't aware what you guys focus on, and the sort of scale of the company.
Yeah, so Intuitive got its start in the mid 90s. The technology was actually a spin out from SRI, the Stanford Research Institute, the same institute that brought things like the internet to life. The first email was sent between two SRI computers back in, I don't know, the 1970s probably. But some really amazing innovations comes out of that group. And that's where Intuitive's robotic technology came from. And Intuitive was really by a large margin, the first robotic surgery product to gain commercial traction. It's an industry that didn't exist, and then along comes Intuitive, and now it does, and it's a large business. Is really one of the things that was very appealing to me about joining Intuitive was how they were able to take this nascent idea that really, if you consider where technology and robotics was at in the 1990s, was an extreme thing to think about, that a robot would be assisting a surgeon in performing the types of procedures that we do. And, here fast forward 25 years, and there are some surgeries where the best known method is to do it with robotic assisted surgery. And that's incredible. And so it's taken it from a handful of people to there's over 10,000 people at Intuitive now, and they've been publicly traded for 2 decades and continue to lead the way in robotic surgery with their Da Vinci platform, which is the bread and butter of the company. And then the team that I'm in, which is the Ion unit. And what was very interesting about that unit is Ion's a new product. It's been on the market since 2019. And it's a little startup inside a already successful company, and so it kind of plays well into the types of organizations that I've had the most fun working in the past. So what Ion is, platform for doing diagnostic procedures in the outer reaches of the lung. It's most often used for biopsy of lesions that are suspected to be lung cancer. And so the current methodology used in hospitals for that is primarily to wait until tumors get large enough that they become a problem before you can diagnose them with an existing technology, all of which have some complications associated with them. And the prognosis of a patient at that stage is extremely poor. And what Ion is able to do is you provide access to those outer reaches of the lung area through use of the robotic platform and the robotic catheter that we produce, and get samples from very small lesions that are at very early stages where survival rates are substantially better.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, my eyes have really been open to the benefits of robotic surgery. We were talking again offline just about a conference I was recently at, and some of the talks there and some of the research, from Carnegie Mellon and like Stanford and stuff like that, and people talking about what they've done and the history, right? And these robotic catheters or snakes that can go inside you, and it's mind blowing for the general public as well, because you hear, and I think now with the big hype with AI and people are becoming a lot more aware of technology and R&D and things that are going on behind the scenes, but this has been going on for years. Mm-hmm. This has been adding value. This has been saving lives. This has been extending lives, and like you said, this lung cancer diagnosis at a much earlier stage. It's just amazing.
Yeah. It's it blows my mind, and it blows my mind that we can even make these things sometimes. And it blows my mind like how I don't know, just not good enough the current state of the art in lung procedure is. The two best methods are one that the manually operated bronchoscope that can't reach very far into your lung. So we can only access tumors that are already so large that they might be stage 3 or stage 4 tumors where the survival rates are awful. Or they go from the outside with a larger needle and quite often results in a collapsed lung and other complications. So you've got one method that kind of works, that's dangerous, and one method that doesn't really work that great. And but it's safe. And what Ion's able to do is access those very distant, very small spots that are so hard to access, and get tissue samples earlier, so that there's a good chance at diagnosing an early stage disease. And of course, it doesn't perform the diagnosis. There's a pathologist involved that actually makes that call, but we're able to gain access to get the tissue samples. And it's really a combination of technologies that have had to come to converge to be able to make that happen. There is some of that advanced computer vision and machine learning that's used in generating in the planning software. That's a really core piece of the technology. And then there's the kind of the key to ION, and we talk about this publicly, is the shape sensing technology. And so this catheter, it's not just smart in that it can steer itself, which that's technology that sort of existed for a number of years, but it's actually a device that knows its shape and position down its entire length. And so it can be inserted, driven into the body very, very easily. We produce some really amazing UI to enable that to be done very easily, and then can hold its position stably so that the surgeon can go in there and get a sample of whatever they're doing. And even if the patient were to move, or to breathe, were to shift in some way, it's able to keep focused on the target that you're trying to get that biopsy for. And it's just really, really cool how they pulled that all together.
It's wild, isn't it? Well, I think we've already touched on here and explained the benefits of robotic-assisted surgery for patients and for surgeons, it sounds like, and kind of goes without saying that the role that your team and you play is integral to the scale of the operation and the amount of robots that are able to be produced and put into practice. So can you explain a little bit about the importance of testing and quality assurance in this industry, robotic-assisted surgery, how crucial it is for the company?
Oh, absolutely. Intuitive is a medical device company. These are all medical devices that we're manufacturing. They're used in the human body in medical procedures. And so it's not only critical that you make the device and make it work, but you have to, of course, assure that it's capable of producing the function that it was designed to, that it was certified to do. And you have to make sure all of your manufacturing processes are in control, and that all of the processes that you use to confirm your processes are in control. Those have got to be in control too. So it's not just about validating the product. You also have to validate the equipment, validate the calibration methodologies that are used, validate the training plans that are used, the inspection and preventative maintenance. All of it plays together to produce a product that will always perform as it is intended to, and will do so safely, and do so in a way that the patient can really count on. One of the, you and I work together at a very mission-driven, value-driven, values-guided organization. And if you can remember the conversations we used to have about making impact and thinking sustainably, that's a conversation that happens here every day. It's patient first always, and it really guides everything that Intuitive does. And even in the short time I've been here, there's been multiple conversations about making a decision on where we're going to go with a project, and the conversation halts at, I don't think we're keeping the patient first in this one, and we need to reprioritize what we're going to do to make sure that patient safety and patient benefit is the first and the last thing that we consider.
That's amazing to hear. It's very refreshing, I think.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, where we used to work. So having somewhere that really lives and breathes their values and their mission, and it's instilled in all the decision making and everything.
It's every day. Almost every meeting, you'll hear some mention, some thought, some allusion to ensuring that the patient comes first, and then the surgeon, and then the payer, and on down the list pretty far until you get to the shareholder. And I think that's actually the most positive way to keep it.
Yeah. I mean, you hear that more and more these days. You do the right thing, and everything else should fall into place. It's hard to do, especially, and it's great to hear that a public company is still operating that way.
Thankfully, you follow Intuitive's stock price, and what's been good for the patient's been good for the shareholder too.
That's great. Let's talk a minute about the future of robotic assisted surgery. We're obviously here right now. You've got some amazing technology here that you're mentioning, and use cases, but what does future state look like for you guys? I know probably some of it you can't share, but high level or even theoretically for the industry.
Yeah, I mean, for Intuitive, we continue to add capabilities to our Da Vinci platform as well as our Ion platform. Different procedures are being qualified all the time. In our last quarterly report, we announced a new procedure that had been qualified there and allowed by the FDA, and so that allows us to keep expanding what the robot can do and what benefit can be done for patients out there worldwide. And I think what's really interesting is Da Vinci was the first surgical robot on the market, and 20 years later, there are more than 200 that are out there doing a whole variety of different procedures. And so, like you and I saw in food service robotics, the technology has reached a place where it's available at scale, it's accessible in terms of price, and it's maybe the population has become more comfortable working with this technology. And so we're really starting to see it explode. And I think that benefits everything. There's just things that the surgeons are amazing. We still, they're still in charge. They drive. There's no autonomy to any of our products whatsoever. But we're able to provide them with capabilities that the human body doesn't have. Motions that they can't do, visibility that they can't have otherwise,
accuracy,
feedback that they just can't get through any other method. And so they're able to do things that they just simply would not be able to do working on their own.
Yeah. And for the audience, for people that aren't visually aware, it's very much like some of the robots anyways, it's very much like a computer game console kind of remote, right? To navigate through the body. And that is a skill in itself. Yeah.
I mean, Da Vinci is pretty challenging to drive. The GM of Ion here made me drive an Ion robot as part of my interview. And the UI team has done such an incredible job with that thing that, he said that this wheel on the left that goes in and out, the ball on the right helps you steer, give it a shot, follow the blue line. 30 seconds was able to navigate this catheter down inside. There's a simulated lung that they had there. And he walked me over to the OR in one of our buildings here, and just incredible. The planning software, the UI, the ease of use was just so thoughtfully done.
That's so great. That's great. Can you highlight for a moment the challenges that need to be addressed, if any, to make the robot-assisted surgery more accessible? I'm assuming price might be a point, but here, healthcare, they obviously have large budgets, but adoption, budgets, even ease of use, are any of those things like major hurdles for the industry?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, Da Vinci paved the way 20 years ago, but it is still, I knew nothing about healthcare until 2 months ago, as far as like how new technology gets introduced. And something you kind of forget is healthcare is a business, and some hospitals are not for profit and some are for profit, but nonetheless, there's large amounts of money involved. And that really means that you have to connect patient outcome along with the return on investment of any new technology that's going to be introduced. And so setting up that hierarchy of, it makes sense that it's there, but like you have to find an insurer that's going to pay for a hospital to do a procedure and a patient to get a benefit. And all of that has to pencil out to being, better outcome and better financial condition. And I never thought that through, and it was just really interesting to start to learn about that. And so, one of the challenges I think is, and I'm very far away from making this happen, but that getting that paying scenario set up while you're also proving the efficacy of the procedure.
Thank you. Well, look, Derek, this has been really great. I've loved hearing about your team's role and just learning a little bit more about robotic-assisted surgery and intuitive in general, because in terms of key players, there's a handful. But as you mentioned, you guys with Da Vinci were the first robot in the space and paved the way really for everyone. And now with over 200 and obviously a lot of competitors, you guys are still leading the charge. It sounds like share price is doing well, satisfaction is there, and new innovations are coming. I encourage any of our listeners who haven't or aren't visually aware of what this looks like. I'm sure on YouTube and places like that, you can see what these robots look like, what the actual procedures look like, and just getting your head around. Because I, for one, after seeing it and hearing more about it, I feel at ease of having robots or robot-assisted surgery happen on me. The benefits far outweigh the risks, in my opinion. And just hearing about even like the early diagnosis of lung cancer, it's with the assisted robots, it's just mind-blowing. And you really wish everyone had access to it, that it was used across the board, and that there wasn't any roadblocks for anyone at any income level, geographic location, or demographic to have access to this. So hugely support it, and I'm really rooting for you guys, Derek.
Thank you.
Where can people find out more about you and Intuitive?
Well, we've got an awesome website here at Intuitive, and for those that are interested or looking for an opportunity in the space, we're always looking for amazing talent. There's a huge range of careers from engineering to clinical research to regulatory affairs to finance, and we're looking for awesome team members for all of it. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me there.
Perfect. Thanks again, Derek. I really enjoyed this, and hopefully we'll speak soon.
Yeah, thank you, Greg.
Thank you.